Bagseed Chronicles is a podcast about cannabis and the people who enjoy it. I hope to provide commentary about cannabis cultivation, cannabis enjoyment, cannabis as an herbal remedy, and hopefully continued cannabis liberation. Now join me, Uncle Dig, and let's overgrow the world. Hey, welcome to the Bagseed Chronicles. This is Uncle Dig. I didn't have any guests today because I don't want to give anybody bad luck because it's episode 13. Also, this buys me some time so I can line up some more guests in the future. Speaking of future guests, Carlos Mullen from out at No Bad Days Ranch will be joining me again soon. Rollin' Smokes will be back on the show soon to talk about his Galice adventures, and I have some other stuff in the works as well. We will see how it shakes out. I have a garden update for you this week as well, and then maybe a quick history lesson. So, without further ado, let's get started. Uncle Dig's garden update. Hey guys, my peas are completely done. The peppers are doing well, recovering from the hail and everything, and my tomatillos should start blooming soon. My sunflowers actually survived the hail, and I have thinned them, so I've selected the tallest and strongest sunflowers to finish out the season. I've also started harvesting super chilies, which are a kind of Thai pepper. And I will be harvesting both jalapenos and serranos soon. Now, I need to grow more cilantro soon in a container. And I want to do that completely homemade salsa. That big gardener flex. Going to be stunting with my Tupperware full of verde, I'll tell you what. Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering what day it is the 3rd of July. We are in gardening zone 8B here in Southern Oregon. And it is absolutely gorgeous. Now let's talk about the cannabis photo periods first. All the photo period plants in my garden have had yellow leaves removed frequently. They've been given nitrogen-rich fertilizer about once a week and have been sprayed with a mild organic pesticide since we last spoke with the active ingredient of spinosad. Now, both my black dominos have been topped a third and final time, and they will be over my head. Easy by the end of the month. Same thing with the Star Killer Femmes. They've both been topped a third and final time and have their final trellis contraption put up. The Alien OG is smaller than the other plants, as she came outside last. She's only been topped twice, but she's catching up to the others quite nicely, and she has a quite interesting aroma. The Bagseed, right, that I'm growing that I call Strawberry Dream is growing tall. She has been topped a third and final time. Now, my 2 CBD Dutch treats in the 30-gallon containers have not been topped a third time. And they will need to be soon, but I need to pick up some more gardening twine first. That's how I kind of do my trellising. And that's pretty much the update for the photo period plants. Now on to the autos. The Tangerine Dream auto flowers may have received their final dose of fertilizer on Friday. Just a little cha-ching from Fox Farms. And I think they are in mid to late flower, but I am not sure. The main cola on the larger plants keep adding bulk, even though I expect it to start finishing. It's kind of a good problem to have, but it's going to make timing the flush kind of difficult for me. The Afghan mass autoflowers are still building flowers, but are still probably in early mid-flower. They have stopped stretching and are focusing on bud development. One of them smells so rank, like a corpse. I smelled it, I almost gag. I'm so excited. It's got that funky, like, almost rotting corpse, like, dead skunk, like, dog puke, like smell to it of like a really weird narcotic trippy indica. So I'm excited about this one. My partner is not. Anyway, but the candy cane actually smelled delicious and sweet, and I expect to be harvesting my first autoflowers later on in the month, which means I may be smoking 2021 outdoor flower by late August, which would be amazing. Let the harvest marathon begin. Speaking of harvest, guys, this harvest is going to be great. Not just for me, but for all the growers I see out there. Everyone's killing it. Everyone is on point with their shit, man. Last year gave people a lot of time to think about their gardens, and it shows. Let's get it, Gromies. We will be smoking flat blunts by Christmas. Let's overgrow the world. Moments in cannabis history, yeah. Today, on Perfidious Albion History, we'll be taking a break from our usual programming, and we'll be talking about the Scythians and drug use. The Eurasian steppe, also called the Great Steppe or the Steppes, is the vast steppe ecoregion of Eurasia in the temperate grasslands, savannas, and shrublands biome. It stretches through Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, Ukraine, Western Russia, Siberia, Kazakhstan, Xinjiang, Mongolia, and Manchuria, and with one major exclave, which is a part that's not connected to the greater geographical feature, the Pannonian Steppe, or Pudsta, located mostly in Hungary. Now, one of the first steppe nomadic peoples to violently carve out an empire for themselves, the Scythians ruled from the Carpathian Mountains in the west to the Ordos Plateau in the east, basically the whole Eurasian steppe and some surrounding territory. Herodotus was an ancient Greek historian known as the father of history, and in 425 BCE he writes the following of the Scythian people of the steppes. Herodotus reporting on the post-funeral rites among the Scythian people, which involved a cannabis vapor bath. He writes, "After the burial, the Scythians cleanse themselves as followed. They anoint and wash their heads, and, for their bodies, set up 3 poles, leaning together to a point, and cover these over with wool mats. Then, in the space so enclosed, to the best of their ability, they make a pit in the center, beneath the poles and the mats, and throw red-hot stones into it. They have hemp growing in their country, very like flax, except that the hemp is much thicker and taller. The Scythians then take the seed of this hemp, and crawling under the mats, throw it on the red-hot stones, where it smolders and sends forth such fumes that no Greek vapor baths could surpass it. The Scythians howl in joy at their vapor bath." That's cool, right? It's basically hotboxing. And if you want to get Howling Scythian Stoned, here's a modern way to do it. How to get Howling Scythian Stoned. Get a group of about 6 to 8 people in a large medieval-style tent, or a large 8-person tent will suffice. Roll a 1/4 ounce of cannabis in joints and smoke them inside the tent. Pass the joints around the circle one by one. Light another joint as soon as the last one is put out, until out of cannabis. Keep the tent flaps closed and provide no ventilation. However, allow attendants of the festivities to periodically step outside in order to be nauseous or to breathe fresh air as needed. But be sure to try to keep as much smoke inside the tent. You can do this with several bongs, but it will take much longer. Stay in there until the smoke dissipates. I recommend you do this in a legal state and not on federal land. It will be comically obvious to everyone who sees the tent, is at the campground, what you were doing. Little bits of smoke curl out of the seams. Y'all are going to be laughing maniacally. It looks super trippy. I have only had the pleasure of doing this once. Myself and Corvidia, guest of Bagseed Chronicles episode 7, check it out, basically just kept feeding joints into a circle that never realized we were finishing the joints because they were already too high. That was a fun camping trip. Hit me up if y'all try this. I would absolutely love to hear the stories. And with that note, I just like to say I appreciate you guys. And if you appreciate this podcast, spread it around. The best bag seeds are the ones that you share with some like-minded friends. Thank you for listening to Bagseed Chronicles. You can contact me on Instagram at Uncle Dig or at my email, uncledig4@gmail.com. The producer of the music found on this podcast is Chad DeVilliers. He can be found on YouTube at Ukuleles Are Stupid and on Instagram at Chadwick Enterprises.